Hello students, today we'll solve one sum to see how the ledger postings are done from journal entries. Now this is question number 3 on page 118 of your textbook. Now students, we will first have to prepare journal entries in the rough work and then we'll be able to post these entries in the ledger account. So as a solution for this sum, your answer will be preparation of ledger accounts, but you will have to prepare journal entries in the rough and then do the postings. The first transaction started business with cash rupees 10,000. Now the journal entry for this is cash account debit to capital account. This we have already learned in the previous chapter. Now we have to prepare two ledger accounts, that is cash account and capital account. Now here cash account is debited by rupees 10,000. So we write on the debit side of cash account to capital 10,000. The date will be written in the date column and capital account is credited by 10,000. So on the credit side of capital account, we'll write the date and by cash account 10,000. So this is the first transaction. Let's move on to the second transaction. Bought goods from Vikas rupees 3,000. The journal entry for this is purchase account debit 3,000 to Vikas's account. So here we have to post this entry in purchase account and Vikas's account. So in purchase account, we'll write on the debit side to Vikas's account 3,000. And since Vikas's account is credited, we will write on the credit side of Vikas's account by purchases 3,000. Then we move on to the third transaction, that is on 9th Jan. Sold goods to Bhushan rupees 2,400. The journal entry for this is Bhushan's account debit 2,400 to sales account. Now here we have to post these entries in Bhushan's account and sales account. Bhushan's account is debited. So we write on the debit side of Bhushan's account to sales account 2,400 and sales account is credited. So we write on the credit side of sales account 9th Jan by Bhushan's account 2,400. Then the next transaction on 12th of Jan paid to Vikas on account rupees 1,600. We had purchased goods from Vikas in the earlier transaction and now we are paying 1,600 rupees to Vikas. Now here, as I'm showing individual transaction, I'm preparing these accounts again. But when you actually prepare the solution, you will have to write this entry in the same Vikas's account which you prepare once. The journal entry here is Vikas's account debit 1,600 to cash account. Now this will be posted in Vikas's account and cash account. So on the debit side of Vikas's account, we will write 12th Jan to cash account 1,600. And since cash account is credited in the journal entry, on the credit side of cash account, we'll write 12th of Jan by Vikas's account 1,600. Then the next transaction, 19th Jan, received on account from Bhushan. Now we had sold goods to Bhushan in the earlier transaction and we have received rupees 1,000 from Bhushan. Now here again, I'm showing this individual transaction, but when you do the sum, you will have to show this entry in the same account which you had prepared earlier. Cash account debit to Bhushan's account. So we have to post this entry in cash account and Bhushan's account. On the debit side of cash account, we'll write to Bhushan's account 1,000. And on the credit side of Bhushan's account, we'll write by cash 1,000. Then the next transaction is 25th of Jan. Cash purchases rupees 3,600. We have purchased goods for cash. So the journal entry is purchase account debit to cash. Now this we have to post in purchase account and cash account. So on the debit side of purchase account, we'll write to cash account 3,600, and on the credit side of cash account we'll write buy purchases 3,600. Then there's cash sale of rupees 5,000. Goods are sold for cash. The journal entries cash account debit 5,000 to sales account rupees 5,000, and we post this in cash account and sales account. So on the debit side of cash account we'll write to sales account 5,000, and on the credit side of sales account we'll write buy cash 5,000. Then the last transaction on 31st of Jan, paid wages rupees 400. We have paid wages. So the journal entry for this is wages account debit to cash account. Now this is posted in wages account and cash account. So on the debit side of wages account we'll write to cash 400, and on the credit side of cash account we'll write buy wages 400. Now these are all the transactions which we have seen how to post in the ledger account. So let's see how all these ledger accounts will appear actually as a solution. So these are all the ledger accounts that you have to prepare. As discussed, the first transaction on 1st of Jan, the ledger entry, cash account debit side and capital account credit side. Then 6th Jan, entry for bought goods from Vikas, purchase account debit side and Vikas account credit side. 9th Jan, sold goods to Bhushan 2,400, the posting on debit side of Bhushan's account and credit side of sales account. Then on 12th Jan, paid to Vikas on account, the posting for this transaction, Vikas account debit side and cash account credit side. Then the posting for 19th Jan, received on account from Bhushan 1,000 rupees, cash account debit side, Bhushan's account credit side. Then on 25th of Jan, cash purchases rupees 3,600, purchase account debit side and cash account credit side. Then on 30th Jan, cash sales rupees 5,000, cash account debit side, sales account credit side. On 31st Jan, paid wages rupees 400, the postings on wages account debit side and cash account credit side. So these are all the ledger posting. Now after posting, we have to balance the ledger accounts. Now to balance the ledger accounts, now see for example cash account, we have the entries written on the debit side and the entries on the credit side. We have to see which side is greater, the debit side or the credit side. So now here when you look at this cash account, you will see that the debit side balance is greater, that is 16,000. So we write 16,000 on both the sides. Now the debit side total is 16,000, but the credit side total is not 16,000. So we have to find out the balancing figure here. That is, from 16,000 you will have to minus the total of all the amounts on the credit side. So if you take the total of the amounts written on the credit side, 1,600 plus 3,600 plus 400. Now this comes to 5,600. Now from 16,000, if you minus 5,600, you get a balancing figure of 10,400. So this 10,400 is your balance carried down. Now both the side totals are 16,000. Similarly, we balance the other ledger accounts also. Capital account 10,000. The credit balance is greater, so the balancing figure will come on the debit side, and since there are no other amounts on the debit side, the entire 10,000 is the balancing figure. Purchase account, again, when you take the total of the debit side, it is 6,600. The debit side is greater. We write the total on both the sides, and then the balancing figure here is 6,600. Sales account, when you take the total, it's 7,400. The balancing figure, balance carried down, 7,400. Vikas's account, the credit side total is greater, that is 3000. So 3000 is a total to be written on both the sides. And then when you deduct 1600 from 3000, you'll get 1400. So the balancing figure in Vikas's account is 1400. Bhushan's account total 2400, and from that 2400 on the credit side, when you deduct 1000, you get a balancing figure of 1400. And wages account total is 400 on the debit side. We have the same total on the credit side, 400, and the balancing figure 400. So this is how we do the ledger postings and do the balancing of the ledgers. I hope you have understood these concepts which I have explained in this sum. You'll be able to understand it much better when we solve some more sums. So that's all for today. Thank you.